right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Tuesday edition, special Tuesday after Columbus Day, Tuesday, October 15th edition of the board. All members are present. We have just adjourned an executive session to discuss strategies with respect to potential litigation associated with the cost recovery for the Wildwood School oil tank breach in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, subsection 3. And with that, would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I also want to thank members of the board and staff who are wearing pink this evening and helping bring awareness to Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the month of October. Thanks to each of you. We will begin this evening with Treasury warrants, transmitting of Treasury warrants 2513, 2513T, 2513S, 2514, 2514W, and 2514T. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to accept all.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? It is unanimous. Mr. Slagle?
Yes, can I have a motion to approve Treasury Warrant 2513W?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
I'll abstain.
4-0 with one abstention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Slagle. Next up is the approval of minutes from August 28th, 2024, and September 23rd, 2024. Is there a motion for either or both?
Make a motion to accept both. Yes.
Is there a second?
Second on both?
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you very much. Which brings us to our first appointment. We have Mr. Duong. Yep. Am I saying that correctly? Yes. Thank you. Come on up, sir. Mr. Duong, System Engineer from Reading Municipal Light Department. You are here this evening regarding two different items here, but the first one is a public hearing on the request of the Reading Municipal Light Department to locate 2 poles on Ballardvale Street. And then quickly after that, we will be taking up a secondary item, which will be 2 poles on Concord Street. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening.
So first thing I'd like to do here is this is a public hearing. I would entertain a motion to open public hearing, please.
I'll make a motion to open a public hearing.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor? It's unanimous. The public hearing is now open. Sir, good evening to you. Welcome. If you'd like to introduce yourself and the reasons you're here, that'd be great.
Absolutely. My name is Johnny Duong. I'm a system engineer at Reading Municipal Light Department. I'm here to petition for, the first petition would be for 2 poles on Ballardvale Street. These 2 poles are for requests for new services at 200 Ballardvale Street, which is across the road. One of them being about 12 EV chargers that are proposed, and due to the commercial nature of Ballardvale Street, we are lacking takeoff poles that exist today. So these 2 new poles would be set in line with the existing conductors, so they're not going to be out of line or any way, so they would be set roughly mid-span, is what we call it, and they'll be for those 2 projects that have been proposed to us.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the board, please. Mr. De Palma.
The only question I have right now is, are any of these poles already in the ground?
No.
Thank you.
Great question. Any,
Fair question.
it's a long story, but yeah, it's a great question. Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay.
Question better answer, I think.
Yeah,
Mr. Kyra.
are these located on sidewalks?
So right now, I believe it's in the grass strip there. There isn't currently a sidewalk that exists at the beginning of Ballardvale Street for these 2 poles.
Okay.
Okay. This is a public hearing, so if anybody from the public would like to be heard on this particular item, please come forward. Seeing none? Okay. How about a motion to close the public hearing as it relates to this particular request?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Public hearing is now closed, and we will now entertain a motion for this particular request. Anybody like to offer a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept
Second?
the
Oh, sorry.
Ballardville Street poles.
Thank you.
Second?
And seconded by Mrs. Maselli. Is there any discussion?
Just to note, the recommendations are in here
Thank-
as well, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Carrot. Mr. Slagle, recommendations?
Yes, we have the two recommendations. The first from Paul M. Maloney, the town engineer, the Department of Public Works. DPW has reviewed the petition by Reading Municipal Light Department to install 2 new utility poles along Ballardvale Street in the vicinity of 193 Ballardvale Street. The DPW has no comment or concerns in this matter and would recommend approval of the petition to place the poles on Ballardvale Street. The second is from Valerie Gingrich, Director of Planning and Conservation. The Department of Planning and Conservation has no issues with the proposed pole locations on Ballardvale Street.
Great. Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Any other further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It is unanimous. That first one is granted. And so, Mr. Duong, we're going to do that same process all over again, minus the introductions, okay?
All right.
All right, sounds good. So you are still here. This time, we're looking to locate 2 poles on Concord Street. Anything additional we should know about that?
So these 2 poles are for a project that we're working with a company called Kearsarge, who does battery storage systems. This battery storage system is going to be utilized as a peak shaving unit to try to shave our peaks to reduce the amount of load and essentially ultimately save the ratepayers' money. So these 2 new poles would be the takeoff poles for the 2 circuits that we would have to bring into River Park and eventually into the back of River Park, where the battery system is being proposed at this point.
Okay, and this is also a public hearing, so I'll entertain a motion to open a public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded, made. All those in favor? Public hearing is now open. Thank you very much. Are there questions or
Mr. Chair.
comments? Mr. De Palma.
Again, I apologize for this, but we've had histories. Are these poles in the ground already?
No.
Thank you.
Another great answer. Thank you
Yes.
very much. Full disclosure, we've had folks come before us before, ask the same requests, and the pole's already been in the ground, which puts us in a very difficult spot.
Understood.
I'm so very glad to hear it. I'm sorry, did you mention the address for Concord Street? I know we said 200 Ballardvale earlier. Concord Street is?
It's right across from 66 Concord Street.
Okay, thank you. Just for the
There
record.
isn't quite an address on that side since it's the River Park parking lot over there.
Okay. We also have recommendations on these. Mr. Slagle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have a recommendation. The first is from Paul M. Maloney, town engineer. The Department of Public Works has reviewed the petition by Reading Municipal Light Department to install 2 new utility poles on Concord Street along the southerly side, across from the street from the commercial retail building at 66 Concord Street. The DPW has no comment or concerns on this matter and recommend approval of the petition to place the 2 new poles on Concord Street. We also have a recommendation from Valerie Gingrich, Director of Planning and Conservation. The Department of Planning and Conservation has no issues with the proposed pole location on Concord Street.
Thank you, sir. Mr.
Mr.
Kyra.
Chair, you didn't let me ask my question that I always ask.
Saving the
Sidewalk
best for
issue?
last.
Not in a sidewalk.
No sidewalk, okay. Thank you.
You. Further questions, comments? This is a public hearing. Anybody from the public like to be heard, please come forward.
Sorry. Let me make a correction there. It
Sure.
is in that little bit of a sidewalk. It's more like a grass strip, though. It's not an actual sidewalk. The sidewalk ends, like, I believe, not towards 93, if I'm correct. I don't quite remember a sidewalk there, so I don't really believe there's a sidewalk issue there to begin with.
So it's not directly gonna, you're not gonna dig up any portion of a sidewalk
No.
to place the pole in the location?
I believe it's within grass, or dirt, I should say.
Yeah, I think the question,
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Kyra, but the question stems from, perhaps making sure that there's handicap accessible still, pedestrian and bicyclists.
oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't believe there's any pedestrian access over there, so
Okay.
not
Great,
in that
thank you.
portion.
Again, would anybody like to be heard on this particular issue? Hearing none. Is there a motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor to close the public hearing? That is unanimous. The public hearing is now closed. Would anyone like to offer a motion?
Sorry.
Please.
I make a motion that we accept the poles on Ballardvale. Is that what? No, Concord Street, excuse me, I
Concord Street.
apologize.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second on that?
So, seconded by Mr. West. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Mr. Duong, thank you very much, sir.
you.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night. Thank you. All right, next up, our next appointment, we're right back on track here, is with Cameron Jenks. He's an Eagle Scout candidate regarding a proposal, and I'll save that for him, that'll be located at the Wilmington Middle School. Please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening,
How are
everybody. Good. How are you doing?
We're very well. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for letting me talk to you guys here.
Absolutely.
So, my name is Cameron Jenks. I'm a senior at the Wilmington High School and a part of the Scouts of America, Troop 56 here in Wilmington. So currently, I'm striving to obtain my Eagle Scout rank in my troop. And as a part of the Eagle Scout rank, every Scout gets the opportunity to do a project for their community. Currently, my project is to construct a shed at the Wilmington Middle School, or Wildwood Early Childhood Center, rather, to house toys for the children of the Wildwood Early Childhood Center. So when the children of the Wildwood School were relocated from their old building to the Wilmington Middle School, they were left with little recess equipment, that they also had to share with the West Intermediate School. So every afternoon, teachers and classes would need to walk across the street to the West building, to a small plastic shed where they would get the few recess equipment that they had. So I wish to construct a 6x8 foot wooden shed in the grass by the baseball field. And the shed will have a gravel base, a slanted roof, a key padlock, and will be visible to police driving by. Both the location and the shed size have been approved by the principal of the Wilmington Middle School, the principal of the Wildwood School, the Wilmington Town Manager, and the Department of Public Works, with whom I have discussed the project. On the next page, just to follow along, is a picture of my shed I would like to construct, made with the shed kit, and the location of the shed approved by, or I've discussed it with. So, how it will be constructed. The construction will be carried out entirely by the Scouts of America and Troop 56, and I plan to collect toy donations from the community and fundraise through the community to build the shed kit. A cost, if you'd like to know, is from $800 to $1,400, varying on the shed kits and the fundraising that we do, but I have no doubt that we'll be able to afford that. So, when a date has been selected by both principals of the Wilmington Middle School and the Wildwood School, preferably on a weekend, a group of volunteers of Scouts and adult leaders will come by and construct the shed in a timely manner. No intervention by the Wilmington Public Works will be necessary. Not saying we don't want to, but we don't need it. So for my timeline, with the approval of the town, my project will be presented to the Scouts of America Council, which will await a similar approval process. Got to go through two entities. And then once approved, I will start fundraising for the cost of the shed, the building materials, and as well as new toys. Once the date's determined, the Scouts will come by and assemble it quickly, hopefully by the beginning of November. Thank you for letting me speak here. If you have any questions, please ask me, and I can give you my personal email, if you would like as well.
Great. Well, thank you very much. This is obviously a very impressive presentation you put together here, and I think you've represented you and your family very well. You want to give any shout-outs? I know you got some family here.
Shout out to my dad, Corey, and my mom, Carla, in the back. They're here to take pictures.
And offer support, yes. Great.
My Eagle counselor, as part of my troop, could not be here tonight because we have a meeting tonight, which I'm ironically skipping for more Boy Scouts. But
Awesome. Questions or comments from the board?
I'll go first.
Ms. Pacelli.
Thank you so much. Very well spoken and put together. I think this is great, a great project for you to do and give to the community and to the kids at Wildwood. And, I love that Troop 56 keeps, turning out Eagle Scouts. It's just, I love every time you guys get in front of us, any troops, of course, but, it's just impressive. So thank you for this, and I know your parents are proud, and I always have to say I'm an Eagle Scout mom too, so, I know what it feels like, and it's amazing, and enjoy every moment of it, so thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mr. West. Thank you.
Yes. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Like Lil, my son is an Eagle Scout as well, so I know the trials and tribulations of going through an Eagle Scout project. That being said, I was just, first of all, congratulations, and I hope that this all runs to plan and you get your Eagle Scout. And we, just curious, what's your timetable?
So currently, I'm presenting here tonight, and then I need to assemble another presentation, lengthy, to the Scouts of America Council, and then with the help of my troop, and hopefully in a couple weeks, they've done it before. I hope they get to me soon. But when that is approved, fundraising will start immediately, and I have everything lined up. And so hopefully, and then a week after that, so into November, hopefully before snow comes in, if we get any. So we'll actually be able to construct. So early November, mid-November, and starting fundraising soon.
Congratulations. So it'd be a nice little Christmas present for the
Yes.
kids at the Wildwood students. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a great thing to be a part of is scouting.
Thank you, Mr. West. Anyone else? Mr. DePaolo?
I just want to congratulate you. Seeing so many of you Eagle Scouts coming before us, it's very impressive.
Thank you.
I want to congratulate Mom and Dad, and Dads especially. I know that smile's not coming off your face for weeks. Congratulations, both of you, for raising such a great kid. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. DePaolo. Mr. Kyra?
Yeah, Cameron, congratulations. Once you practice on this one, I need a shed at my house. I'll give you the address.
We can schedule that. Yeah.
No, this is a slam dunk. This is a great project, a great idea. I'm sure that the kids at the middle school will thank you over and over and over again, as well as we have done this evening. Just a quick question, though, I have for the town manager. And I'm not trying to put a stop or anything on
Oh,
it,
absolutely.
but this is on school property.
Yes.
And although we're all supportive of this project and want you to move forward with it, I may be mistaken, but does Cameron have to get permission from the school committee to put this on school property? I'm just,
No,
you know what I mean? I just want to make sure we do it the right way,
Absolutely.
okay?
Yeah, so I don't think they need permission. I think he needs permission from the principal.
Okay.
The principal has control over the school property, and the acting principal of the Wilmington Middle School and the principal of the Wildwood have both been consulted on this project.
Okay,
Bless you.
And they are we're fully supportive of it.
okay. Oh, I see that in here. I just don't want to overstep our, authority, I guess, and say
Absolutely.
that, yes, and then have the school committee be,
Yeah, no, I think it's a
So-
principal. It's the principal
Okay.
control of that facility.
Okay.
So.
great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Slagle, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, just really briefly, I was very impressed when Cameron came in. He had done a lot of the groundwork before he came to see me. He had already spoken with Jamie Galdi at DPW and with the principal of the Wildwood to get their buy-in in the project before coming and seeing me about it. So I sent out basically one email saying, is everybody okay with this? And everybody responded that they already knew about the project and they were all on board with it. You got some glowing reports from Assistant Principal Kyra at the middle school about
Principal, I think, no.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't even like it. He said you were an excellent student, and he was impressed with it. So I just wanted to let everybody know that this was a very light lift for the staff.
Good. So Cameron, you may know this, maybe you don't, but this guy's brand new. It's our brand new town manager. So we need to know, how was he during the meeting? Was he good?
Yeah.
I
it.
thought he was great.
I'll pay after this.
It's a little
He out
bit,
there with his work boots on.
a little bit afraid that, I don't know, if you're new in office, obviously, big background, but it was very well.
Awesome.
Went very smoothly, and I couldn't have asked for anything better,
Awesome.
really. Yeah.
I could see you in an office like that someday. You've done a great job here tonight. I know your family's really proud. You know you're a busy guy, got a lot going on, senior year. We really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Thank you.
And we're really proud of you. So obviously, with that, we'll call for the vote. Dad, you're welcome to come on up and take a picture, unless you want to add something, Dad. You want to add something? You're close to the mic? Okay. You taught him well. Mom, you want to say something, Mom?
No, I've just been working years towards trying to fit this all in. He's got a lot in his plate. He's
lot.
doing a good job.
Doing the right things, absolutely. What other sports? Tell us real quick. What are you doing else besides this?
I'm playing soccer right now, and in the fall and the spring, I run track for my
Awesome.
high school team. Yeah.
Good luck with everything, man. That's
Thank
great.
you.
We're rooting for you all the way. All right. Would anybody like to offer a motion?
I make a motion.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I just want you to know I'm abstaining from this vote just because of my involvement with the troop. My son's an adult leader there, so I just don't want any, so I 110% support this, but I just wanted you to know I am abstaining, just for conflict of interest,
All right. Thank you very much. No pressure, guys, but we need a majority here.
Come on,
Any
step
other
up for me.
discussion? All right. All those in favor? All right. Four and one abstaining. Congratulations. You got our
Thank
stamp
you.
of approval. All right. Great
I
job.
Really appreciate you guys letting me come here tonight.
Awesome. We
Thank
look
you.
forward to
Great
seeing you.
job.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right.
Proud of you.
Best of luck with everything. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Take care. Oh, if you want a picture, yeah.
Get a
you
good
can
picture. Yeah. Come on up. Come up with watch your step.
Yeah, be
We've
careful.
had
That's
people
like a
fall.
death trap over there.
Yeah, why don't you come back? You might be back here someday. Why don't you come behind here?
I was gonna say we could just.
We need guys like you. Come on.
Yeah, you get right in the middle.
Try out that chair. Let me know if you think.
Feels good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Best of luck.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Great job. Thanks
Congratulations.
for being here.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Yep. Good
Want
luck.
to
Thank
check.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Take care.
Thank you.
Love stuff like that. That's great. Okay.
Tough act to follow, Chief.
All right.
Next up, equally as good. Equally as good here. We are fortunate to have our fire chief here tonight with friends to discuss a donation that's been made to the town and to tell us all about it and the Wilmington Community Fund involvement. We also want to welcome Mrs. Searforce is here and Mrs. DiGregorio. Thank you so much for being here. Please feel free to come forward. Please. Thank you for being here. Good evening.
I'm still a fan.
I know,
That's right.
I can
Loud
appreciate
and
it.
proud.
Thanks for being here, Chief.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. Obviously, this is Dulcia Force and Diana DiGregorio from the Wilmington Community Fund. Joan, as she likes to be called, reached out to me a few months ago because she had seen Lucas chest compression devices on a TV show or a commercial, something like that, and asked if we had it. And I told her we did. We had a couple. We have 3 in the arsenal there in the fire department. And she said, well, is that enough? And I said, well, I do have 2 trucks that go out that don't have them. She said, okay. Well, what's the cost? And asked all the questions. I put her in touch with our rep from Stryker, which is where you get these from. And she dealt with Rob and got a number and everything like that. And the community fund was generous enough to donate 2
Wow.
to us.
Wow.
At the amount of a little over $38,000.
Wow.
So when I saw the price, I was like, they're not gonna go for that, it's a lot.
Wow.
But, they did, and, these pieces of equipment are very important. I'm gonna open it up in a minute and show you guys they do. Oh, you need me? You need me to take that? Oh, okay. Usually I'm loud enough, I wanna make sure. So I'll show you in a minute what they do, but, we got our first set of these probably 10, 12 years ago, and the first generation of these came out. And we were a little skeptical on how they worked, but big thing from the American Heart Association is time on chest is a huge thing when we're in a cardiac arrest situation. The more time you can be on the chest, meaning doing compressions, doing quality CPR, is directly beneficial to the patient outcome. Now, we don't win them all. That's a given. CPR is unfortunately a very low positive outcome exercise. Our job as first responders isn't always to get them back, like you see in the movies where they're like, oh, hey, how's it going? I have one save in 17 years. One. I've done CPR probably at least 50 times, and the guys who've been on the truck longer than I have, they probably have more than I do. I have one, and it just so happened I was one street over when this call came in doing inspections on fire prevention. So this machine here helps us to free up a responder, to put in airways, to, when we have paramedics on scene, for them to get drugs, to push drugs, to get IV access, do all these other things that typically someone would be doing. It also allows us to move the patient and continue compressions. In the old days when I first got on, before we had these, if we put them in a flexible stretcher, it's difficult to get that stiff surface to get quality CPR out of them. If we have them in the stair chair for some reason, I don't know if you've ever carried someone down a flight of stairs and someone basically punched them in the chest while you're doing it. It makes it a very difficult exercise. It isn't good quality CPR. It isn't exactly safe for our responders. So this device, with the way that you set it up on a person, makes all that possible for us. I'll open it up real quick. I'll show you. They actually haven't even seen it yet, which is, I haven't been able to get to that first.
Do you
So,
need more room?
it comes in the case, which is nice. It keeps everything organized in here. Inside we have this backboard, so this would just go under the shoulders, right? And then once that goes under the shoulders, we would take out, this is the kind of the guts of the operation here, if you will. It clips on to both sides like that. So one goes, it's not gonna sit in that trail. There we go. So it goes like that. You slide this down just above the chest. Once we turn it on. So we're gonna put it down.
Ooh.
And then when we hit start, we have two options. We have ALS and BLS. So ALS will do a constant, because the medics can, with the tubing, can bag while you're getting compressions, composite. We can go to a BLS mode where it'll do our 30 to 2, like the AHA makes you do. This will give you your 2 inches of compression, but also with the suction cup, what they notice is it pulls the chest back out, which allows for more filling of the valves in the heart and the ventricle. So it's a great machine. It helps, like I said, we can put this on someone sitting up, put it on them laying down, it's not gonna go anywhere. You can strap the hands in, there's also a strap that goes around the head to hold it in place, so. The machine itself is very good, we use it a lot. And having 2 additional ones to be able to bring into the field, so every vehicle has one. As you know, the ambulance isn't always right there. You know, it makes a big difference for us, so it helps with our capability, and I can't thank the community board enough for donating this. So, ladies, the floor is yours.
Absolutely.
Glad we could.
We thought it was a very good purchase for the fire department because of exactly the way that he explained that, you know, you could be out on the field and somebody's needs attention, and if you don't have something like this that can help, or they get tired, or there's just not enough manpower to do it, that's a lifesaver for sure.
Nothing? It's the first time I've heard you not say anything.
Well, I'm glad I reached out.
I am too. It really is good.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I was telling Diana tonight, next year is Community Fund's 80th anniversary. We were formed in 1945.
Yep.
And it's also going to be 45 years that I've been on the board.
Wow. Holy cow.
4 years more than I was on the 4th of July committee.
Amazing.
But it's always been, I've always been on the lookout, so to say, to see if there was anything out there that Community Fund could do to benefit the community as a whole. Several years ago, in conjunction with both the fire department and police department, we ran a house numbers for safety program, because they found when they were on call for an emergency to someone's home, not everyone had a visible house number. So we did that 1 year and had a good success, and unfortunately, not every resident complied, so a few years later, we ran it again. We also provided smoke detectors a couple of times, gave those out to residents, carbon monoxide once, I guess. So we're,
We just purchased the safety net program as well, and that is for people who get lost and they have,
Oh,
we
right.
have a bracelet.
Yeah.
so The police can find them
Yeah.
within sometimes hours, less than a day, as
Yep.
opposed to having a really bad incident happen and they're found,
yeah,
not alive. And,
Right.
the
so we
tracking
did that.
system, excuse me.
That-
Initially, we were able to purchase six. Community Fund bought 4, Senior Center bought 2, designated for seniors use only. The tracking system, and then it was just a short time ago, Deputy Chief notified me that out of the 7, 8, they only had 1 remaining and wanted to know if we were in a position maybe to provide more. I proposed it to the board. We also reached out to WOW, and WOW very willingly wants to help support too the tracking system. So if we got 10, we saved $20 per transmitter. So Community Fund purchased 5 more, and WOW came up with 5. So now
That's
the police
awesome.
department has an
Wonderful.
additional 10. I think as time goes on, there's probably going to be more and more residents,
Yep.
unfortunately, that are going to require that. But it's a life-saving device, as is this. So Community Fund's very happy to support whatever we can.
The school is
Oh.
aware of that too.
That reminds me, years ago, Community Fund also purchased the smaller version of Jaws Up
The
for
Jaws of
Life,
Yep. Amazing.
because they said the one they had was so large and cumbersome, it was hard when you were out on call. Is that still working?
There's one still around, yep. One still around.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that we are extremely fortunate to have people that'll volunteer their time and their
Yep.
efforts and their money to help for the greater good. And
Yep.
that's excellent, and I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Well,
So,
we
thank you
appreciate
both.
what you do, saving lives
That's right.
and burning houses.
I just put paper, ask my guy.
And we're incredibly grateful as well for you.
Excuse me?
We're incredibly grateful for
Oh.
your contributions and for the,
Oh, I'm glad
the-
we're in a position to do it.
and just, and to equip a really fine fire department with yet another tool that literally could save lives. So, your group, along with the fire department, may be able to save somebody's life because of this, so we're really, really grateful. Anybody want to add questions or comments? Mr. West?
First of all, Joan, and both of you, just thank you very much for your contribution to the town. I have a question that, again, I wasn't around 80 years ago when they started fundraising, but I was around when the Community Fund used to do the walkathons.
Walkathon, yes.
And have the, quote, tow trucks driving around picking up straggling little kids that couldn't make the 12-mile walk. But I think this is probably a great opportunity for both of you to talk about what is a community fund, how can somebody join in, what type of fundraisers do you have? Just a brief blurb, but what type of fundraisers do you have? I don't know, Diane or Joan, if somebody wants
We
to.
do not
At
do
our shredding
fundraising.
event, and we get donations through the shredding
Yeah.
event. We were giving, I was doing a letter every year with the water department, went out with the water bill, and we were asking for donations. And so we did that probably 5-6 years in a row. But we're pretty flush with funds. We have very, very wonderful residents who donate money to us, and we also run the food pantry, so we get a lot of donations of food as well. As you know, Thanksgiving, that's coming up soon, so they'll be doing the food drive. The high school does the food drive for us. and that will be on November 16th. We will be giving food out the day before, the Monday before Thanksgiving. And then we're also now starting our adopt-a-family program as well. So those are people who, you know, can't afford to maybe do a good thing for the kids for Christmas. And then we get sponsors to help with that. So, and we work with the fire department, the school nurse on that program. So we're trying to do as much as we can. We're thinking about what we can do for our 80th anniversary, that everyone, you know, we're not sure yet what we're gonna do, but we're kind of rolling some things around. But I remember that we were looking at some old notes and like some of the things that they used to have, and it's really funny. We've come a long way.
We have.
Yeah.
In
'Cause I
addition
was-
to
I was
the
one of those kids
generosity
that-
from residents, I just want to say Wilmington's businesses are very generous in their donations to us. If it wasn't for a lot of them, you wouldn't be getting that.
Yeah.
I buy local.
Ms. Vasselli, thank you, Mr. West.
I just want to thank you both, I mean, for your volunteerism and everything you do for the community. I mean, these are the you know, stories I could listen to all night. I mean, it's just amazing. I didn't even know about that, and I'm thrilled that every truck will have one now. It's invaluable. So just, you know, thank you and I agree with you, that's going to save lives, you know, and it's going to help, you know, the EMTs, the firefighters to give their, you know, patients, you know, more help and do their job even better than they already do it. So I think it's wonderful, and I just can't thank you enough for all you do. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Palmer?
In today's times, people forget. They forget that there's people out there that need help. Everyone looks in a community, and we'll use the fire department, for example, and say, just buy the equipment. Just buy it. Just buy it. Just buy it. When they don't have the money. And to have groups that donate equipment like this is, what can you say? It's absolutely phenomenal. But this is what makes Wilmington, Wilmington. And I commend you. If I had a pedestal, I'd put you on it right now. It's just incredible that you are thinking enough for equipment like this. And again, I just want to congratulate both of you ladies and your group.
Been, I want to echo my colleagues' sentiments. What a great idea for the community. The fire department's top-notch, and we want to make sure that they're always have the best equipment, and you've made sure of that for sure. With everything that you've done throughout the years, it's amazing. And also, you made mention of all of the different businesses and groups and individuals that made this all possible with their donations. And we give a big shout out and a thank you to them, but especially you, coming up with that innovative idea and always thinking forward. And it's so important to the residents in Wilmington. So thank you both. Chief, thank you. That is quite an amazing piece of equipment there that you demonstrated, and
I'm surprised
life-saving
it's so
for sure.
compact.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Surprised.
Thank you very much. We're really grateful. And please let us know what we can do. I know you have a lot of great events throughout the year. You mentioned the shredding day. And if you do decide to do something for the 80th anniversary, please let us know so we can help spread the word. And we want to get the word out for all the great work that you do. So any opportunity we have.
Shy about asking for things, believe me.
Well, please do. You are welcome to come here. We'd love to spread the good word of all the great work you're doing. So we really appreciate you being here and for the demonstration, Chief. And really, we can't thank you enough for this very generous donation. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here.
Appreciate it. Wonderful.
I'll be back as soon as I find another ad on TV.
All right.
Go.
You're welcome anytime.
Anytime.
Yes, anytime.
If that's
Thank
what
you
you're
again.
doing, come on down.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Have a
Take
good
care.
night.
Bye, Diane.
Thank you. last but certainly not least, our 7:45 appointment, right on time, is with Ms. Cavanaugh, Health and Recovery Coordinator, regarding an exciting grant. More good news.
Yeah.
Good evening, Samantha.
Hi, how are
Thank you
you?
for being here. Good, thank you.
for having me. So just wanted to come before you guys tonight to tell you about an exciting kind of addition to some of the services that I'm looking to bring to Wilmington. Over the years, we have added different things since I started. We now have a part-time recovery coach that works for us. We have Xena the therapy dog, and I'm now looking to bring a 30-hour-a-week full-time therapist that would be fully benefited, funded with two different sources. First, a Cummings grant. So Cummings Foundation, we applied for a grant back in December, and were notified in May that we did get that grant. So that's $150,000 over the course of 3 years, with yearly payments of $50,000. And then we've also been accruing money from the opiate settlement funds that Wilmington has signed on to receive as part of settlements through different pharmaceuticals and pharmacies, and we have a pretty big balance in that account also. So pulling those two accounts together, we have come up with a comfortable salary that we'd like to offer, and have settled on that 30-hour-a-week position so that we can make sure that we have the appropriate funds to fully fund it, with some leftovers for other events and initiatives that we're going to be looking to make.
Great, thank you very much, and I appreciate your flexibility, by the way, in scheduling, full disclosure. This has been long overdue appointment, so I appreciate your flexibility.
I think we have all the details worked out now, so it's good.
And we're grateful for your efforts here in putting this all together.
Yeah.
Questions or comments from the board? Did you want to chime in, Mr. Slater?
Yeah, if I could just.
Thank you, please.
So Samantha has been working really hard leading the charge on this. She's worked with myself, Mike Morris, Judy O'Connell, and Kathy, and Kathy Godfrey in my office, to not only come up with an appropriate budget and building a structure to try to make this fully funded outside of the tax levy for the 3-year grant. We also have been working with Cummings to find an appropriate spot to have this office. So Cummings is offering us what in my mind is a phenomenal deal on what I think is very appropriate office space in one of their buildings, to allow this therapist to have kind of a private session, so that the people who are going to visit them are going basically into a Cummings building and not coming into a town hall or something like that. Yeah, so it was very well thought out. We've gone through a lot of work to come up with this proposal, and I think it makes sense to work on this. I know there's obviously going to be some questions about how it's done, but we're committed to doing a lot of data capturing for the 3-year grant process, not just to reply to Cummings, but also so that the town can make a determination as to whether or not this is a service that's kind of, I think we all think it's going to be needed, but just to document that need. Mm-hmm. The goal is to take the opiate funds that we have now, commit them towards this project along with the $150,000 grant. And then we have, obviously, opiate funds that are going to come in over the next 10 to 12 years that are not being spent as part of this proposal. If at the end of 3 years, we'll have to reevaluate the program, make a determination as to whether or not we apply for an extension of the Cummings grant. I know that they have in the past, for projects that they feel have a good community benefit, they've extended those grants for another 3-year term, and look at the balance in our opiate account at that point in time. I think we're going to get a total of it's over $600,000 over the course of the full opiate funding, and this is going to use I think around $250,000 of that for the first 3 years. So we're still going to have some opiate funds if we look to extend this with grant funds in the future.
Great news.
And just to bounce off of we're looking for an outside space for this person. There's not a lot of wiggle room right now in town buildings, but also really wanted it to not be in a building that was town, just so that there was that privacy for individuals that were accessing this person. So we thought about it being at the police department, we thought about it being at the senior center, or the veterans office, but really just wanted to focus on making sure that individuals who utilize this person really did have that privacy. And this position, I'm sorry I forgot to mention, is really for a brief period of time. So it's for a 6-month period of time after an initial crisis or a period of difficulty. So the hope is that a referring provider, so myself or someone from the senior center or Veterans Affairs or the schools, can refer someone to this individual to receive up to 6 months of kind of emergency acute therapeutic interventions, so that they can then work with that referring provider to find someone longer term if that person still needs that intervention. Myself and a lot of other people in the town, along with some data that we've been able to collect, has really showed that we have individuals in crisis, and wait lists and the ability to actually access these services is really difficult, if not impossible, especially for kids. It's 6-12 months wait until they can get some services. So this is really kind of in that initial period. It is a short period of time, but really a critical moment in some people's lives. So it is only for a 6-month period, and just wanted to clarify that also.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. When you say 6-month period, this is for a 3-year period, right? But you're talking about the individual is going to be with that person for 6 months.
Correct.
And then move on.
Yes.
What would the caseload, do you have an idea of this one individual, how many cases do you think someone could take?
Great question. Yeah. So it's really going to be dependent. The hope is, well, at the end of the day, a 30-hour position a week does not equal 30 clients a week. You're looking probably somewhere in like the high teens, 20-ish range. But that is also taking into account that you're seeing one person every single week. There might be, towards the end of someone's term with this person, they might be seeing them every other week. It might be someone that doesn't need it weekly. So it's a little hard for me to say kind of what a full caseload would look like. The hope, though, is that there's always going to be space for someone to start seeing this individual pretty rapidly after a crisis. So that is the hope, that we can kind of cycle people appropriately so that there's always an open door for them.
Well, it's surprising that it's that you're thinking of being that high for caseload. That's great. Would you be working with, I think it's Mayflower a little bit? Would this individual, the location in North Wilmington, will there be a connection there as well? Do you know?
Nope. So we're totally separate. The location that we're looking for in Cummings right now is actually in Woburn, so it would actually kind of have another layer of privacy.
That was gonna be my
Yep.
question, if it was in Wilmington.
Right over the line by the Superior Court building. There's a nice office space that we looked at, Judy and I looked at on Friday, that we're proceeding forward to see if it will work out appropriately. Yeah.
And
Sorry, I
that's-
forget the other piece of your question.
Well, no, I didn't know if you were gonna, if this individual would be working with that facility as well, or there would be some back and forth there, but that's fine.
I mean, so ultimately, right, the goal is for individuals, if they need treatment outside of a 6-month window, for those referrals to be put in. So that could look like they're receiving services through Atlantic Behavioral Health, which is under Mayflower. It could look like other providers in town also. So I think the relationships with town providers or with providers within the town are always going to be open. And really the goal is to find an appropriate referral for each individual.
And I just want to make sure I heard correctly, the location where it's at, Cummings is not charging for that? Is that what?
Nope, they are charging.
Oh, they are charging?
Yep, so
Oh, okay,
it's,
I thought it was-
I believe it's $533 a month is what they're charging for rent. We looked at some other office spaces. Judy was great at pulling up some office spaces for us also to think about, and that is really a phenomenal deal for us. I think the folks that we worked with the last few weeks have all agreed that that's the best bang for our buck, and we are really getting the space is nice. There's a receptionist, there's public bathrooms, it's handicapped accessible. Furniture is included in the space, so it's a really, Wi-Fi is included. It's really, we're kind of lucking out in that they have the space and it's available for us in kind of the timeline that we're looking at.
So there'll be the therapist and there'll be a receptionist as well?
So the reception, it's kind of like a WeWork, if we want to like kind of explain it like that. It's a shared office space with private rooms, and you walk in and there's a receptionist. You would go up to the receptionist, say who you're there to see. They would call this individual, and then this individual would come out to the common area to get them.
Nice.
The receptionist is part of the rent.
Okay, the reception is
It's
not
not
an
an
employee?
town employee, no, it's part of the rent agreement, includes the cover of the receptionist.
And what is the salary is not 50,000, 50,000, 50,000?
No,
Has that been determined yet?
Yes.
we determined a range.
Yep, so the range is between 30 and 40 an hour, which is estimated to about 46 to 62 a year. But that's also only a 30-hour work week, so it's not going to be a 40-hour work week. We had a lot of conversations about 30 versus 40 versus part-time, and really wanted to make sure that we are making this a position that is sought after so that we get a good candidate for it, while also not spending too much money and having budgetary issues at the end. So it's that 46 to 62 range, depending on licensure, depending on kind of experience. And then other financial components of it would be obviously kind of the office space, technology startups, liability insurance. So we're looking at about a little over $100,000 a year would be the estimated cost of this position, and that includes benefits and health insurance if they need.
Well, this is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I recall going back, I think it was in our first term, Mr. Bendel, when this idea came up of hiring in a position that you're in today, and it was very unique at the time in this area, and this is much needed. So I'm glad you're staying on top of it, for sure. I am a bit disappointed you didn't bring the dog. I mean, the
Nice to
last
see
time
you
I
too.
saw.
No one ever wants to see me.
But no, thank you for
you.
bringing this to us.
Thank you, Mr. De Palma.
This program, would it be able to be worked in with any type of insurance an individual would have also?
So
And
we-
would you be working with the insurance?
Great question. So we are intentionally not contracting with insurance. We are not dealing with insurance. Something that kind of some data we've already collected is just the inequalities of insurance, right? If you have Mass Health versus if you have private versus if you have the financial ability to pay out of pocket. So this will be there will be no exchanging of funds for this position. And we made that a very conscious decision to make sure that we had the funds to not need that to be a barrier. And we will be working with, if the individual needs therapy outside of this 6 month window, we would be looking to refer them to someone who does take their insurance down the road. But this particular position would not,
You're going to be a
staying away from that.
standalone.
Yeah.
And once they get to a point, if they need assistance longer than what your program is allowing, then that's when you would get insurances involved in.
Yeah, with someone besides this person. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, good
It's
question.
a great job.
Thank
Great-
you.
Great program.
I just think it's wonderful.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate all the work, and you clearly, put a lot of thoughtful, work into it, questions, and you kind of, everything. I mean, that's amazing, the rent for that. I think that's an excellent idea, and being out of Wilmington, I mean, you've really, I think, have checked all the boxes to make this, what it should be, and I think that's going to encourage people even more to reach out. So, great job, keep it
Thank
up,
you.
and it's fabulous.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Mr. West.
Just echo my colleagues' sentiments as far as it's unfortunate that we have the need, but it's great that we have people such as yourself and going through all of, not just doing your own job, shall we say, but going forward, getting grant money, trying to help people for, like you said, a 6 month period, which would get them, hopefully, like you said, if there's backlogs of appointments into other people, they can use your reference, your services while they're waiting to get on that on that list. So I think it's a great credit to you and everyone that you've been involved with as far as, serving a need that, it's just something that we kind of don't all talk about. We talk about Eagle Scout projects and stuff like that, but it's great that we have, people such as yourself to do what you do, and thank you.
Totally agree. Yeah, again, this is terrific. Last question. Is anyone else doing this? Are we one of the only ones doing this?
So we started doing research on this about a year and a half ago, and at that time, we could not find any comparables. Shelley Newhouse kind of tried to find some comparables. A lot of them were more comparable to what I was doing or more kind of crisis work. We haven't really been able to find another town or city that's doing kind of like this providing of actual therapy. So there's probably one out there that I don't know about, but in our at least general surrounding area, this would be the first.
Right. Well, that's a credit to you. We really appreciate your work putting this together for us. We're grateful for the Cummings Foundation, obviously, for their generosity, but this is terrific, and please keep us updated.
Absolutely,
Hopefully we'll
yes.
get a bunch of good candidates, and I know you'll choose the right person for us, and again, we're so grateful that we have you and for you to do the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks, you guys, too.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
All right. A lot of good news here.
Yeah, it's good. Good night. I
This
think
is
we
good
should end
news.
it right
Yeah,
now.
that's right. That's not
All right.
Motion.
I know.
No communications. I guess that's good news. We'll move to board to consider, Mr. Slagle.
Yeah.
Number 6, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Board to consider number 6. This is a memorandum from Valerie Gingrich, the Planning and Conservation Director, regarding the intermunicipal agreement for Regional Housing Services Office. As members of the board may be aware, since 2014, the town's participated in a shared housing service office with Reading, North Reading, Woburn, and Saugus. And so every 2 years, we update a new intermunicipal agreement with the member towns. So this would be to continue on that intermunicipal agreement for the next 2 years.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, any discussion?
Yeah, Mr.
Carr.
I noticed that there was an additional couple of towns added in to this agreement that we hadn't had in the past. And I also noticed that the split became equal. In the past, Wilmington seemed to be paying more in that share. But with that, at that time that we were paying more in that share, I had requested that this individual come to town hall to continue to work with residents in Wilmington. I want to make sure that that individual continues to have office hours in the town hall. They have, so, I'm in favor of this, but I want to make sure that
We continue
that
to have that
continues.
service. That makes sense.
It's important to note.
Yep,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Any other further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, board to consider number 7. Board to consider executing the agreement between the town of Wilmington and Stephanie Frontiera.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded, discussion?
Yeah, I'm sorry to bring this forward. I know we want to sign this and get it over with. Under vacation leave, on page 2. Under the second sentence where it says their start date, should it be her start date? I mean, I know I don't want to be picky, but where it says, 2 weeks vacation upon their start date. We're not, I know it says finance director and town accountant, so maybe whoever did this thought that there was 2 people, I don't know.
No, they is a singular pronoun as well.
Okay, you don't want to put her there, okay. And I thought we were going to put subject to the approval of the town manager, because I would think you would want to know when she's going on vacation. I wouldn't think that you would want to walk into her office and say, where is she? I thought we were
Thought that
putting
was,
subject to,
Yeah, I think there was
you know what I'm saying? I think she would be reporting to you. I would think she would need permission like everybody else to go on vacation am I know I thought we had discussed that.
We did.
So, okay.
I think that was on, it was on the,
Supposed to be in there.
the overtime, and it was on the duties, I thought. That's where we put that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I may be mistaken.
Yeah, so
You know what I'm saying?
I
That's fine.
hear exactly what you're saying.
I'm sure it's not a stoppage of getting this done,
Yeah.
but I just think, you know.
Yeah, I think that in the, that is how all department heads are treated in the normal course of business. So nothing about this gives her some different rights that the normal department heads have under the normal department head, where they have to let me know when they're going on vacation. They have to tell me who is in charge while they're gone. That's kind of under the standard. And just to follow up a little bit, this was reviewed and tweaked by Joe Fair. So he did go through and make some Joe, who is town labor council. So he did make some changes and change some of the language that we had talked about. So there were no substantive changes, but yeah, he did make some changes, and then was sent off to
Yep.
Ms. Frontiera subsequent to those changes.
Fine, as long as you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, I think
Just,
it's-
you know.
Good catch. Any other comments? I do want to thank Mike Morris, who's been filling this role for some time now for the town. He's come back out of retirement, served us well, along with a lot of other people internally that have stepped up to fill this role. So I'm grateful for that, but we're excited to have Stephanie come on board as our new finance director, town accountant. Be starting at the end of the month for this 3-year contract. With that, is there any other final comments before we call for the vote? Okay, all those in favor? It is unanimous, thank you.
Mr. Chair, Board to consider number 8, a request of Louis Maglia, Director, Department of Veteran Services, that Wilmington Town Common be illuminated in green during the month of November in support of veterans.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Made and seconded, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor? It is unanimous, thank you. Thank you, Lou.
Mr. Chair, Board to consider number 9, a request of Louis Maglia, Director of Veteran Services, to use Town Common on Monday, November 11th, 2024, for Veterans Day ceremonies and invitation for the Select Board to participate.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. West. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, Lou and staff.
Mr. Chair, Board to consider number 10, requests of community groups to conduct events which require road closures. The list of organizations, events, and dates were attached. They would be the Firecracker 5K Road Race, Thursday, June 26, 2025. The Fall Fest 5K Road Race, Saturday, September 27th, 2025. The Soul Sisters Running Club 5K Road Race, Saturday, December 13th, 2025. And the Wilmington Little League Opening Day Parade, Sunday, April 12th, 2026. Just as a reminder, this is as a result of the policy requiring the information by October 1st for races and events planned for the following fiscal year so that the police can put that in their budget.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a
Seconds for discussion.
Seconded discussion, Mr. West.
I just have a question. On the Little League Parade, do we have a street traffic control application for 2025?
We would have,
That was approved
That would have been
last year.
approved. Okay, because I was just looking, I'm saying, why is this 26? It
It's
just
because it's the
seems-
following fiscal year, so it's a fiscal year that
Okay.
starts next July
Right.
and goes through.
Yep.
I think it was just a few years ago that we implemented this policy. The board was, the time town manager was concerned about budgeting for these
Yep.
particular events and wanted to make sure everything was in order, so we had set that timeline of
Yep.
October 1st, if you'll recall. And
Yep.
that's the reason, it feels like they're pretty far out, but that's the
Yeah.
reason.
No, again, not a problem. I just, like I said, it just seemed odd to me that
Yeah.
I saw
a
20
long way out.
24 things and then a 26, and there's no
Right.
25. But like you said, if it was already approved, then that's fine.
Yeah, that would have been approved.
Good catch, though.
As long as there's nothing from 2030 or anything like that.
Not
that's-
yet. Not yet.
Yeah, and,
Conn.
and Mr. Bennett and the prior town manager was concerned and brought this to our attention about the amount of budgeting that we're doing for these these events. And it's great, and it's wonderful that the town and the town budget is supporting these events. But he was going to give us a synopsis, so to speak, as to what this actually costs the town. Because he said at some point, we're going to have to make some tough choices, because as was said in many towns, the groups that run these events actually, when they do their, applications, they put it in there so that they're paying for police or fire
Right.
or DPW, and he was going to do an analysis as to what it's costing the town for that, and
That's right.
and at some point, the Board of Selectmen is gonna have to come up with a difficult decision as to whether we continue to pay this out, or whether we ask those organizations to help with that. So I think we should still move forward with that analysis, Mr. Chair, through the
Yeah, that's
town
great.
manager.
That's a reasonable request?
It is. And just so, I wasn't aware that there was a specific request about this, but it is something that I have asked the department heads who've been responsible for everything since I've been here to put forward a calculation of what these events that haven't been charged are costing the town. And so I have been doing that, and I'll continue to do that as we go forward.
And again, this is, these are great organizations and fun things for the town, and we want to continue to do what we do, but at some point, we need to plan as we move forward.
We need to know the answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Whatever we do with that answer, we can, the board will decide, but I think you need to have the facts in front of you about what it's costing
Right.
us, absolutely.
thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Mark your calendars. And finally, number 11, sir.
Yes, board to consider the request of Carrie DeProfio, Secretary, Wilmington High School Touchdown Club, to conduct a fundraising car wash at the 4th of July building on Sunday, June 8th, 2025, and Sunday, September 21st, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
No second.
Second, thank you. Discussion? Mr. De Palma.
Weren't we discussing keeping all car washes and things at the
Public buildings.
public buildings?
I think you are correct during the time of construction. I think by this time, we're hoping that the construction is complete.
And I believe we've had some events, I don't know if we've had car washes, but I do know we've obviously had some events on the paving.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the plan, right? So we're hoping this
think that
time
was the
next
plan.
year, essentially, that construction will be done, and then we'll be back to kind of normal operations. That was my understanding.
Should we, to Mr. De Palma's point, approve this, but with the understanding if there are issues, that we're gonna give them permission to go to the Department
Yeah, I think that's a good plan.
Building
I
department.
think
of
that's
Building
a good,
Department
yes.
location.
That's a good plan. Probably for any future,
Right.
until
Yeah.
it's completely, it's done.
Until we know.
Until we're
Yeah,
done.
We don't
So
know
that-
what's.
That makes sense.
That's probably a good, yeah. Anybody willing to add that?
I'll amend my motion, if you will.
Thank you. And still
I'll
second.
amend it so that we're giving permission for the 4th of July if it's available, if not the.
It was my motion.
Oh, it was, I'm
was
sorry,
mine.
I'm sorry, I thought it
Yeah,
was mine, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So I will amend my motion to include that if the, what are we saying, the town hall, school administration building parking lot is not available, that the event will take place at the
Building Department.
Yeah, Public building.
public building department, I'm sorry.
No
Yes.
problem. It's still supported by Mr. West.
Yes.
Form of second. Thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay, it's all right.
No
I had to
problem.
think about it. I'm like, I think I
Any
made that. I didn't look at that.
further discussion? Okay. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you. This has been great, by the way. Very positive, a lot of very
Yeah.
productive meetings.
Yeah,
Thank you
no,
all.
it's
This has
been
been good.
Good night.
That's all we're gonna do from now on.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
All right, next up, public comments. Anyone like to be heard? Good evening.
Kevin McDonald. Before I begin, should the total amount on
We do. It was read off early this evening, Mr. Slade.
Yes, the total amount of the warrant's $9,963,484.58.
And one of the previous meetings, I asked if the letters after each warrant, such as W, T, and S, if that represented the schools, or water and sewer, or the town employees. Did you ever get clarification on that?
Yes, we did.
We did.
Mr. Slade.
Yeah, so the W is for wire transfers.
Wire transfers?
Yes. So those are payments that are going out via wire transfer. T is the town payroll. S is the school payroll. And all the ones without letters are general invoices.
Okay. I do have a handout that I'd like to pass to each selectman. You could take one and pass it down.
Watch your step, sir.
Take one and pass it down, Mr. Steiner. Thank you. These pictures that I'm holding up represent the oil spill that occurred at the Wilmington High School in about 1985. And it kind of shows you a little bit what happens when there's a tank breach and what happens when oil goes into the ground. One of your items tonight was the fact that you were discussing an executive session about litigation relative to Wildwood School tank breach. At prior meetings, I had requested the town send a representative down to the public buildings that are getting fueled up with thousands and thousands of gallons of fuel, so that the representative from the town could be sticking the tank and making sure the oil's coming up. You would think that the Public Buildings Department would have learned their lesson with this tank breach that occurred at the high school. And as you could see in the pictures that I gave you, the disaster when oil in the tune of maybe 60,000 gallons goes into the ground. They obviously did not learn their lesson, and it seems as though the policy continues to be that we're not going to have representatives at these filling locations when the tanks are being filled up, and I think that's irresponsible. You're contemplating litigation relative to a tank breach. I highly doubt that a tank would break because of the person filling it up. It's probably because of degradation to the tank over time and lack of inspection and a whole host of other things. And so going forward, I'm asking you, Mr. Bendel, and asking the board to have an agenda item to take action so that we change a policy and have a representative of competence go down to these facilities when they're fueling up to make sure that the oil's coming up, and if there's a problem, you stop the oil from being delivered and you discontinue filling the tank up. So, Mr. Bendel, would you be willing to have an agenda item for that?
Appreciate your comments. We'll certainly take it under advisement.
Is that the typical take it under advisement, or is this like a serious, like, we're gonna do something about it? Because,
No,
like,
as you know, this is public comments. You're welcome to make your comment.
Okay.
I've got you down for 2 questions we've successfully answered tonight, so I think we're off to a good start.
okay,
But again, we're here to hear your comments, but this is not a Q&A.
okay, so the other comment that I have is, there was a vote just taken to build a new school at the North Intermediate School site. And I, along with many others that I talked to, have a huge problem with that, because millions of dollars have been put into that school. New windows, new roof, new kitchen, new paving, and I've heard others say that the North has never looked so good. $250 million is $250 million to be put into an elementary school. We originally were told that there were 170 kids in preschool. Come to find out, the actual number is 132. So you multiply that by 5 or 6 grades, it's still less than the capacity of the Wilmington High School. The new Wilmington High School was built with a capacity of 960 or 940 students. That school cost $85 million, and people's taxes doubled. So you're looking at a cost of a school that's triple the high school. So if our taxes double with the high school, you're probably looking at people's taxes going triple with this school. And I think it's like completely irresponsible for the town to put that type of burden on people. And people in town, are, they're questioning if the people involved have some stake in it, like the real estate people around town, with people being either foreclosed on or massive exiting of the town, making money off real estate commissions because you're forcing people out of town. And I just don't think that's right. And when they were building the high school, they were touting Wilmington as the best affordable community. And it's interesting that a community that's called the best affordable community has massive exodus from the town to the tune of probably well over 1,000 people, including foreclosure notices and all of that. Nobody's talking about that. And I personally think the people that are involved with promoting this project should be seriously looked at as we probably need to get rid of some of these people who want to put this undue financial hardship on the rest of the town. So that's my position on that, and I'm not alone on that position.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald.
Mr. Bendel, I did have a question for you.
Chairman,
Excuse
can
me,
I-
sir, Mr. Kyra.
Yeah, I just want to clarify a point, Mr. McDonald. The Wildwood School Committee did not vote on a new school. I don't want the people to misinterpret what you're saying. What the Wildwood School Committee Board did was they voted on a preferred option for a new school. There's still a longer process that needs to take place. It was a 16-6 vote, and
How did you vote
it now
on it?
has to, I voted against it.
Okay. Would you like
It
to?
now has to go to town meeting, right, for a vote of the residents. And then it will have to go to a debt exclusion vote, all right? Some people refer to it as an override, but it's really not. I'm sure you understand a debt exclusion vote. So there's a long process to go through, so I don't want the people to misunderstand what you just said. I want them to understand that it was a preferred option vote. And now there's other processes with the MSBA and with town meeting and with a ballot question for debt exclusion.
Correct.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Carr, for clarifying that. I think it's very important. Also, the vote would happen just a week ago. It was October 8th. That was televised, well-attended, and every resident received a flyer regarding that. I'm not sure if you received one, but all that information
I
was
did.
on there. So thank you for clarifying that.
Mr. Carra, I know what a debt exclusion is, but for the benefit of the rest of the people in town watching the meeting, would you be willing to explain to them what a debt exclusion means?
I would refer to our town manager for that, because he's good at explaining that. Since he has on several occasions, has explained that at several meetings to the public.
I was hoping that maybe you
so
could
that
explain
maybe-
it better,
Well,
but that's
man,
okay.
Mr. McGough, excuse me, the gentleman is speaking, and Mr. Kyra, you don't have to answer that because you weren't prepared for that, wasn't on the agenda. So although this has, again, been explained that it's not a Q&A, but Mr. Kyra alluded to it, so Mr. Slagle will allow this final question, if you don't mind.
Certainly, no. A debt exclusion is a temporary tax increase solely for the duration of the project. So I think the proposed or the debt exclusion for a new school, should it go forward, was preliminarily laid out as a 30-year bond, and so the debt exclusion would only be for the amount of the debt payments for that bond for those 30 years, and then it would go away.
And do you know, like when the high school is going to be paid off, was that 2035 or was that further out?
2037.
2037? Okay, so when you say temporary, okay, we just want to make sure that we're clear on the fact that the high school is still being paid for until 2037, and then people are being asked to take on more debt, which will be probably till what year? Like 2055 or more?
It all depends on when we start, but again, it would be
Call it 2055, so that's,
a 30-year proposal.
so when you say temporary, that's a long time, that's a lifetime for some people. I just want to clarify it to people that when you say it's temporary, we're talking like 2055, the people of Wilmington will be still paying for that school. And so we have
30-year bonds work, yes.
we have sewer issues that we're paying for. We have the town public safety building that we're paying for. We have the high school that we're paying for. I believe there might be a water tank that we're still paying for. And so, you know, people are kind of wanting an auxiliary fire department, and to knock down a school and to put that priority before some of these things, I don't see how that's responsible, and I certainly don't think it's fair to the people of Wilmington that would have to be forced out of town because they're on fixed incomes and they can't pay for that.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Appreciate your
Well,
comments.
Mr. Bendel,
I'm
just
gonna
in
see if,
closing, I just
excuse me,
wanted to ask you
Excuse me. I'm
one
going to
last
see if
question.
anybody else. I've got you down for a
Yeah,
half
there's
dozen
nobody
questions.
here, Mr. Bendel. You know,
Well, I'm just going to double
you are-
check. That's my duty here. So I just
Yeah.
want to see if anybody else would like to be heard. If not,
yeah,
we're going to
would you
move to
like
announcements.
Would you like me to go in the hallway and see
Thank
if there's
you very
anybody,
much.
Mr. Bendel, or in the parking lot?
No, thank you.
Because you see
We'll move
nobody
to
sitting here.
announcements. Does anybody
right?
have an announcement they'd like to make?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. West.
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. Is that, one, I just wanted to congratulate the committee that put together the dedication for the Lentini soccer field over at the North Intermediate. I thought it was a great event. They had a bunch of soccer players from when soccer first started in Wilmington back in the 70s up through present. Our soccer coach, one of the assistant coaches, Bill Peabody, that was a North Intermediate school teacher. I know Gary and I were able to attend, and it was just a nice, a nice dedication for that. And the other couple of things real quick is that I think Fall Fest went well for the town. I didn't hear of any issues one way or the other for anything. I know Mr. Slagle was there, and it just seemed like and Greg, I remember seeing you and the family there, so it was a nice, I think it was great opportunity for a lot of the people to get out and see things, so worked very well. So I'm hoping that that'll be a continuation of a good event for the future. Last thing is that I searched through my closet. I couldn't find anything pink, but what I did was that I did go to the police department and pick up they're doing a badge for Breast Cancer Month. So if anybody in the town's interested, I think they're $10 a piece, and I'll bring this to the next meeting, and that will be my article pink. So unfortunately, breast cancer has hurt a lot of families, my family included, and it's just nice that the police department's doing something to make the community aware.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other announcements?
Just
Mr.
two
Cameron.
things, questions really. I heard from a few individuals that went to the Fall Fest and loved it, thought it was great. I heard from a few others that were surprised that there was a $5 charge. But I wanted to just make sure to double check with the town manager when the presentation was made for an area to set off to sell beer and wine and whatever, that we were adding more police detail to that, and I think the chairman of the 4th of July said that they would be paying for that extra detail on that, so I just want to follow up to make sure that that's looked into.
Yes, I confirmed that with the chief this morning, in fact.
Okay, so nothing's been done, just a confirmation that that will be looked
Yeah, that's,
That's in the process.
yes, that's in the process of being taken care of, yes.
And follow up on the fence, it was at Powder House. You were meeting with some of the principals, the OPM, Dennis Kelly, George Hooper, on the 26th of September to make a decision as to how you're going on the property line or not, or has that been made yet?
No, so that decision has not been made. However, interestingly enough, we did find some new information that came forward at that meeting, which was, it appears as though there was a historical, this is before my time, but there was a historical post and rail fence that ran in between the 4th of July building and the properties on Powder House Road. It also used to, I think, run along the front of the 4th of July building, but more importantly, it was a fence that was a fence line that ran, a post and rail fence that ran along 9 feet off the property line. And apparently when the architect who drew up the plans for the new fencing, the plan that he saw had that fence that doesn't exist anymore. And so the reason why there was going to be a fence 9 feet off the property line was he was merely continuing a fence line that he thought already existed. And so, given that the fence line that he was linking it up to was not real, there's a question about whether or not that fence is needed. And that's the discussion that I was having with them, but no final determination has been made.
Okay. Because there was a survey done as to where the town property is, right?
Yes, oh, absolutely,
so
we knew
that's-
where the survey was.
Okay.
But again, for a long time, and again, I don't know if anybody remembers it, but there's a plan that shows this post and rail fence that used to be next to the 4th of July
Yeah.
building. And,
Right, I remember that.
whoever drew up the plans thought it was still there and just tried to connect another fence to it. But it's obviously not still there, so there's not really a reason to have a fence 9 feet off the property line anyway. So it'd be kind of an anachronism to keep it. But the determination has not been made. As I mentioned the last time, the fencing is not going to be finalized until the end of the project, so the end of next summer. Until that time, there's going to be a temporary construction fence, which is already out there.
Thank you.
Any other announcements? Hearing none, is there any new business? Okay. Important dates, Mr. Slagle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Important dates upcoming. October 19th, we have our first day of early voting here in Town Hall in the auditorium from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., so that is Saturday the 19th. October 21st through the 25th, we have curbside collection of yard waste throughout the town. Also, October 21st through 25th, we have early voting here in Town Hall in the auditorium from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. October 22nd, we have a very important Finance Committee Planning Board public hearing here in Town Hall in the auditorium regarding the items on the special time meeting warrant. October 25th, the Carter Lecture Fund will be having a presentation at the Wilmington Middle School in the auditorium at 7 o'clock p.m. Entitled The Working Man's Band. On October 26th, Saturday, we're going to have another round of early voting here in Town Hall in the auditorium from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Also, that is the last day to register to vote in the state election. The town clerk's office will be open that day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. For voter registration. On October 27th, we have the Horribles Parade at Rotary Park at 4:30 p.m. October 28th, we have our next Select Board meeting here in Town Hall, Room 9 at 7 o'clock p.m. Then October 28th through November 1st, we have a curbside collection of yard waste throughout the town. Also, October 28th through November 1st, we have early voting in Town Hall in the auditorium from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Reminder on November 3rd to turn back your clocks and change your detector batteries and your smoke and carbon detectors. On November 5th, we have the election. The polls open at 7 o'clock a.m. They were open until 8 o'clock p.m. On November 11th, we have Veterans Day. Town hall offices will be closed. There will be a Veterans Day ceremony on Town Common at 11 o'clock a.m. November 12th, we'll be having a select board meeting here in Town Hall, Room 9, 7 o'clock p.m. Then November 25th, there's a select board meeting, Town Hall, Room 9, 7 o'clock p.m. Discussion of local property tax policy with reference to classification for FY 25. That is subject to amendment. We may not be having that time. We may be having it later, depending on I have to talk to the assessor about that. November 28th, on Thanksgiving Day, the town offices will be closed. November 29th, the day after Thanksgiving, town offices will be closed. And then, finally, December 7th, we have our special town meeting at Wilmington High School in the auditorium at 9:00 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, and also just one addition, Monday, October 21st is the next meeting of the Wilmington, the Wildwood Committee, MSBA group is together that evening, which is, I believe, is a Monday, the 21st. I also wanted to note that on our October 28th meeting, tentatively, right now, the plan is to have Valerie Gingrich come in and talk to us about the MBTA zoning article that'll be taken up on December 7th, which was previously requested. So that's tentatively the plan, to have her come in for the very next meeting.
On the 28th.
We looked at having it tonight, and we saw we had quite a bit. We thought that
Yeah.
might be a little bit of a longer discussion, so tentatively that will be slated for October 28th.
And I apologize, Mr. Chair. Also, November 19th is another, a subsequent meeting of the Wildwood School Building Committee.
November 19th. Okay, so the next one's October 21st, and then also November 19th.
Yes.
Great. Any other dates, important dates okay, great. All right, next up is our salute to service. Tonight, our board is going to salute Alan Russo, who served in the United States Air Force from September of 1959 to October of 1960, and then served in the Naval Reserve for many, many years. He's a longtime resident of Powder House Circle, and tonight, we salute him and we thank him for his service. Mr. Russo, thank you. With that, we will entertain a motion to
Make the
adjourn.
motion to adjourn for the evening?
Thank you.
Second?
Second. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.